I know, what am I like? I'm always early to the party on this channel, aren't I? It's because I can only film when I come into the office when you've got a baby. You don't have much time. Ted Kaczynski, Unabomber, died by suicide in US prison medical center, AP sources say. The Federal Bureau of Prisons has faced increased scrutiny in the last several years following the death of Jeffrey Epstein, who also died by suicide in a federal jail in 2019. Unabomber Ted Kaczynski, who carried out a 17-year bombing campaign that killed 3 people and injured 23 others, died by suicide, sources have told the Associated Press. The 81-year-old, who was suffering from late-stage cancer, was found unresponsive in his cell at the Federal Prison Medical Center in Butner, North Carolina, at around 12:30 a.m. on Saturday. The Harvard-educated mathematician has been locked up since May 1998, when he was sentenced to 4 life sentences plus 30 years for the campaign of terror that set universities nationwide on edge. He admitted to committing 16 bombings from 1978 and 1995, permanently injuring several of his victims. Kaczynski was given the name the Unabomber by the FBI because his early targets seemed to be universities and airlines. Emergency responders performed CPR and revived Kaczynski before he was transported to a hospital, where he was pronounced dead later Saturday morning, the People told the AP. They were not authorised to publicly discuss Kaczynski's death and spoke to the AP on condition of anonymity. Kaczynski's death comes as the Federal Bureau of Prisons has faced increased scrutiny in the last several years following the death of Jeffrey Epstein, who also died by suicide in a federal jail in 2019. He didn't. He didn't, but whatever. He was awaiting trial on sex abuse charges. In 2021, Kaczynski was transferred to the Federal Medical Center in North Carolina, a facility that treats prisoners suffering from serious health problems, like I reported on in the Ted Kaczynski video I did. Kaczynski lived as a recluse in a dingy cabin. It wasn't dingy, it was homely and lovely. I liked his wee cabin. In rural Montana, where he carried out a solitary bombing spree that changed the way Americans mailed packages and boarded airplanes. His targets included academics and airlines, and the owner of a computer rental store, an advertising executive, and a timber industry lobbyist. In 1993, a California geneticist and a Yale University computer expert were maimed by bombs within the span of 2 days. 2 years later, he used the threat of continued violence to convince the New York Times and the Washington Post to publish his manifesto, a 35,000 word screed against modern life and technology, as well as damages to the environment. And like I said before, it's 35,000 words of the most based shit that you will ever read, and it is correct. The tone of the treatise was recognised by his brother David and David's wife Linda Patrick, who tipped off the FBI, which had been searching for the Unabomber for years in the nation's longest, costliest manhunt. Authorities in April 1996 found him in a small plywood and tar paper cabin outside Lincoln, Montana, that was filled with journals, a coded diary, explosive ingredients, and 2 completed bombs. Now, some things are saying he wasn't suicided, he wasn't, he got Epsteined and everything. Like, I don't believe he was, because the man was 81 years old, right? And he was in the final stages of cancer. There was literally no reason to Epstein him. What I believe, because I've heard some cases of this happening, is when cancer starts to like proper ravage your body, like you're absolutely fucked at that point. Like there's no coming back, and it starts to eat your mind a little bit. Like a lot of people, they don't really talk about this. They definitely don't show it in movies, but whenever people are in the final stages of cancer like that, that's you, pal. You've got weeks now, days probably. Your mind's gone. You don't recognize anyone. You're babbling. You're saying a bunch of incoherent, rambling stuff. It's an extremely sad state of affairs, and it's an extremely horrible way to watch someone go out. Now, Ted, as we know, was a hyper genius. He went to Harvard at like 14, 15 and stuff like that. He was an extremely intelligent person. His, biggest thing he had was his mind and his thoughts. And I think that when he was getting into the later stages and he felt his mind going, that he thought, I want to go out as me. I want to go out as me. I want to still be me in here and not some, drooling mongoloid, whenever the final curtain falls. So I'm going to go out on my own terms while I'm still me. Which I completely understand and respect. I would probably do the same thing. I completely get that. So, yeah, I understand why he did that. That's why I don't believe he was Epstein, because, I mean, there was no point. Like, he was on his way out. There was definitely no point in Epstein in him. However, it is very sad. It's sad in the sense of he should not have done the things he did to get his message across. But the problem is, people would have just dismissed him as some loony maniac. But considering the things he did is why so many people are getting very interested in his work. Apparently, after his death, all the Zoomers and TikTok are now getting right into Ted Kaczynski, which I think is a good thing. No, not the bombing. Not the killing people part, not that, but all the stuff he wrote, technological slavery and stuff like that, they're all correct. They're all good. And he's right. He highlighted a bunch of, basically, mankind is going down an unsustainable trajectory. We're becoming completely detached from the environment that raised us. Dump any random human in the forest, out in the wild, where we lived and survived for like millions and then hundreds of thousands of years as hunter-gatherers and all that stuff as well. Put any of us there and we'd die. We'd die in seconds. Like, even though it's where we're from, it's it is mother's womb. It is where we're from. It is what raised us. It is the environment that created us. But dump anybody there now and they would fucking perish in a day. Like, and Ted was talking about that disconnect. Instead of trying to live within nature, we instead bulldoze it and live on top of its corpse. Right? We are getting rid of nature, even though all of the bounty that we enjoy so much comes directly from nature. So, yeah, he was right in very, very many things. He was. Trans people are trying to claim him now, though. Well, sorry, you can't fucking have them.